You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shemaiah Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shemaiah Reed.
Welcome back to I Am Refocused Radio. Once again, we are here today, and today we have another show lineup for y'all. We have a special guest. We have someone that I know are going to be inspired by. She's not just former military. She is someone that is a leader in her community. She's doing so many great things with young people. And first and foremost, I just got to cut to the chase and say who she is. She is Lieutenant Colonel Melva Perez, retired. I'm going to call her Mel because that's what her best friends call her. But she's built her career on duty, honor, and selfless service. She served for almost 3 decades in the United States Army, rising through the ranks to become a respected leader known for strategic thinking, discipline, and unwavering integrity. She is someone that I know when you listen to this episode, she's going to feel like family. And she cares about family. And she doesn't just have a family of her own, but she has a family within her own community. And I just want to welcome her to the show and say, Mel, thank you for taking time being on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It is an honor to be here this morning with you. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Well, I know you have a very packed career. I saw your resume and saw all the details, all the awards, all the recognition, all the great things you've done in your military career. But I just want to start first as a background icebreaker. What drew you to the United States Army, and what were some of the amazing things that you were able to gain from that experience?
What drew me to the United States Army is my grandfather. He actually served in the Army back in World War II, and he actually fought in World War II. So growing up, I knew that my grandfather was a veteran. Unfortunately, he passed away at a very early age. I was about 5 years old when he passed, and all I remember is attending his funeral and listening to the honors, listening to the guns, watching the flag be draped over his casket, and that caught my attention. That's something that stayed within me as I grew up, and that was always something that I said, I want to follow my grandfather's footsteps. I want to serve our country.
When I first met you, it was through another friend who was also a military. You just have this warmness about you. And even the person that I met recently, like less than a month ago, he has a warm personality too. Is that something that just carries with people who are in the military or just recently retired? Is that just a quality that you kind of deal with on a regular?
Serving in the military, not too many people do it, and it's not for everybody, and that's okay. Less than 1% of our country serves in the military. And in order to serve in the military, you have to have a heart for it. You have to have a love for your country. I have a love for the uniform, for the American flag. And that's what brings that warmth, that passion, to me. And I'm sure the individual that ended up referring me, we love our country, and we fought for our country. And we will continue, whether it's to serve our country, our state, or communities.
You said that you grew up without people looking out for the less fortunate. How did that experience help shape your life's mission to become the person that you are today, and also be on mission that helps people?
It shaped my life because I personally know how it feels to want to participate or be involved in something and not be able to because you can't afford it. I have made it a life mission to help mentor and guide those around me, whether it be kids, soldiers, or young adults. If I can make an impact on someone's life, I'm going to do it. How wonderful would it be for these individuals that I have mentored to continue paying it forward? What a wonderful country would it be?
When you think about a specific moment where you realize serving people is what I'm called to do, was there actual a moment where you said, man, this is what I was born to do?
Serving people is something that I was raised around. My father I was raised in a Christian home. My father was a minister. And ever since I can remember, I was volunteering at food banks. I was helping in Mexico provide medical and dental support to those less fortunate, whether we were providing food or clothing to the less fortunate. It was a way of life for me. It was a way of life for me and my family.
You have a quality that I feel people feel when a person enters a room. Like, you know how sometimes some people will enter the room and it's like almost people get quiet and they're like, oh, so-and-so's here. We better get back in shape. You know, we better look sharp. That is a quality that not everyone has. And to your point where you said earlier about military, not everyone is meant to be part of that spectrum. But when you look at the opportunities that you had even after you finished with your military, you are still serving your community. And that's going to lead us into what you're doing with young people. But before we go there just yet, why you think it's so important to have that type of quality to where when you enter a room, people know, oh wow, so-and-so's here. We know what to expect because we've seen their resume. We know that they mean business. We know that they have a heart for good. Why you think that is so? And how can people understand those type of leaders better? Because sometimes less is more and you don't even have to say a whole lot. Your presence says a lot for you.
I think that is important. I was raised in a home where we were very poor, and they always instilled in us to help others. You may be poor, but somebody may be in a worse situation than you are. So always give back. So that was a way of life, for me, and, serving my country, just exalted that. And after retiring, there was never a consideration for me to go out there with my resume and make six figures. That was never an option for me. It was always instilled in me to give back. Don't forget where you come from. Give back. There is always people out there that are going to need your help. And I can be making a lot of money out there. I don't want to, because I feel that our community, our country is so much more important, and I can make an impact in their lives.
Once again, listen, I Am Refocused Radio and talking to our special guest today, Melva Perez. I'm going to call her how she said I can. She gave me permission to do it, but I want to say again, thank you for your service to our country and everything you've been able to gain from the United States Army has created an even more quality life for you to give back to young people. So as we switch gears a little bit and talk about Texas Panthers and how you're changing the game for inner city athletes. As a team mom for the Texas Panthers, you didn't just support the team, you remove barriers. What does it mean for you to not just fund travel, meals, and opportunities for kids who otherwise wouldn't even have that opportunity?
It means providing experiences and opportunities to kids by going above and beyond, by fundraising and going out into the community and telling the story of this nonprofit basketball organization that works hard to keep kids off of the streets and on the court.
You also photograph and created highlight content for players. That is going extra mile right there, and that's like a very Texan way. Sometimes in Texas, if you know you're from here, you don't just know that sign don't mess with Texas, but you also know that Southern hospitality, we really care about our community. So being able to do that extra mile activity, to go hard in the paint for these players, to help them with highlight reels, why is visibility and confidence so important for these young athletes today?
Social media is what kids are into nowadays. If it's not on Facebook, if it's not on Instagram, it didn't happen. And so parents pay a lot of money to capture their kids on the court, allowing them to feature themselves to their friends, to other basketball teams, to college coaches, giving them their opportunity to get their names out there in hopes of getting to college or playing at the next level. These kids, these inner city kids, they don't have that type of money to do so. So I make it a point to provide clips and action shots for them, to bring that confidence in them, to allow them the opportunity to showcase themselves and to give them some bragging rights, because if it's on social media, it happened. This helps them fit in. It helps them feel like they are a part of the crowd, like they are a part of the team, and giving them that confidence that they so much need.
And speaking of bragging rights, do you have a particular story of a player? You don't have to name names on radio, but if you have a story in mind of a player that still lives in your heart today, what's the story you can share with our audience of someone's life that you impacted?
I say yes. There has been so many players that I can personally say that I've impacted. Working with inner city kids, a lot of them come from broken homes. A lot of them have been removed from their families. This particular one, and as you mentioned, I'm not going to mention names, but he's going to know who it is when he listens to this. This young man was broken. This young man was angry. This young man was a great basketball player, but he came with a lot of problems, and the organization brought him in. We worked with him, and sometimes it took a while for him to warm up to some of the other kids that he was playing with. Him and my son just hit it off. They were a great team. They just had great chemistry, and he just wouldn't let anybody in his heart. And it was hard, and he would get in trouble. He would get kicked out of games. It was kind of funny at a certain point, but putting your arm around him saying, "You're good. You know, showcase yourself. This is your opportunity. There may be a coach. There may be a scout out there that is going to see through you and see how good you are. You're a great person." Giving him that confidence, giving him the opportunities that he needs. Eventually he came around. Now he would see me. He would come and give me a hug, to where before he wouldn't get near anybody. So knowing that I was able to break through that and know that now there is a trust there. Now he talks to me. Now he is able to come and tell me what is going on in his life and give me the opportunity to mentor and guide him and try to get him to make better decisions, to put that anger aside and, just embrace the opportunity that he is getting that not too many people get. That one young man, if he continues down this road, he's going to be big in this community and hopefully be able to share that with other kids in his neighborhood.
And a lot of times that's exactly what it really takes for the young hearts and minds of this, I would say, young generation, because every generation talks about the next generation, but just specifically what in context what you're talking about, a lot of times it just takes that one person to plant that seed in that person's mind and heart. And it's amazing how that window of opportunity, if they seize the moment before it closes,
right,
their whole life is different.
Their whole life can change because of that. And that's because somebody took the time, to wrap their arms around him and say, it's going to be okay. You do have somebody here supporting you. You do have somebody that cares and loves you.
Once again, listen, I Am Refocused Radio, and we are talking to our new friend, our new famous friend, Melva Perez, and all about what she's doing in the community of where she lives here in the city of San Antonio and all around Texas, because I know you have a lot of friends in high places, so you probably moving, you just moving in a lot of places. So when you look at how things are always moving in life, we talk about social media. If it's not on social, then it's not, anywhere. In context of how you help these young athletes get these reels out there to give them more eyes on them, more people seeing the hard work that they put in practice and working with their teams and teammates and all that. There is something beyond basketball, though. What life lessons are you also instilling to these young minds that is not just teaching about the game of basketball, but also teaching about the game of life?
Life lessons of appreciating what people do for you. Don't take it for granted because somebody was available to you, because I can tell you, living that, there's not a lot of people that are willing to take the time and embrace that. Paying it forward, setting goals. You can accomplish anything that you set your mind and your heart to. Don't be a victim. Don't play a victim. A lot of people say, oh, I grew up poor. I grew up in a bad neighborhood. My parents didn't have an education. They didn't have good jobs. Don't be a victim. Go out there and become somebody, educate yourself, get a good job. Don't be the victim. Show people that you are better than that and prove them wrong. Show them that you can be better regardless of what your past is.
Man, I didn't know I was going to have a TED Talk on the show today, but that's exactly what's going on right now. So I want to say just real quickly, thank you for what you're doing on this episode, because I believe someone out there, some young person out there is going to listen to this, and they're just going to start showing up, and they're going to start chasing their dream. And that's what we do on this show. This show, I Am Refocused Radio, is about purpose. And that could be a whole nother TED Talk for another 3 hours, but I'll get to the next question, because my next question involves with leadership and what you're doing beyond talking to young athletes, but you also are supporting 22 sports programs and managing over 1,000 volunteers. That's no small mission. What has leadership principles, including what you learn in military? What are those principles that help you build that kind of movement?
I've always been a person to not be afraid to get dirty. I can't tell whether it was my soldiers, whether it's my volunteers, go and do this, if I'm not willing to roll up my sleeves and get dirty alongside them. Hard work. I'm not afraid of hard work. Leading from the front and working just as hard than those near you, or working harder than them. That's what builds trust. And that is the definition of leadership. Getting people to follow you and do things that they may not want to do because it's too much work, but following you because you are leading the way, you're leading the charge. So that motivates them to do things, to do hard things that they may say, I'm not getting paid for this. Why am I doing this? Because you're leading the charge, and they want to be part of that change. They want to be part of that experience. And it may seem easy, but it's not. It's a lot of work.
And just to give our audience even more of this amazing painting of this masterpiece in this interview is you also helped generate tens of thousands of dollars in scholarships. What goes through your mind when you're able to see the look on of a student's face, being able to have an opportunity that can change their future?
It's an amazing feeling to see it. When I first started as volunteering at the booster, at the high school, at that time they were awarding $5,000 worth of scholarships. And it was a total. And so when I was getting ready to retire from the military and I said, I need to get involved, I went to the first meeting. I heard this and I'm thinking, $5,000. This is a 6A school. We should be awarding more money than that. Only because it's a 6A school doesn't mean that everybody has the ability or the capability or the resources to be able to go to college. And I thought, no, there is so many ways. My mind just blew up, and I just started thinking. I started talking to some of the parents, and I thought, if we can do A, B, and C, we can bring more money to the table and award more scholarships. And so starting from that day, now today, we will be awarding $30,000 worth of scholarships this year, and this was just 2 years ago. And there's going to be, we just created another scholarship, which we will address at a later time. But yes, we went from awarding $5,000 to $30,000 in just 2 years. And that's hard work.
Wow. That's all I can say on that. That's truly a great testament to not just what you've been able to do with your experience in the military, but also your experience in leading your community. And we can tell you just have a passion for people. And I know this wasn't on the list of questions, but since we're kind of running out of time, you are also a family person. So this is personal. This is not just something you are trying to do in the community, but it's something that you actually live in home. So what are some of the values that you try to translate from the household to the streets of San Antonio when you're in the community helping these young minds grow from where they're used to being, but introducing to new opportunities of what they could be going to?
What I bring from the home is love, is care, is embracing what you have. We all can look back at how we were raised and think, man, if my parents had more money, if I had a car, there is all of what if I had this, if I would have. Embrace what you have, make of it what you can make of it, make the best of it, and try to make yourself better. Try to give back. Giving back opens doors for so many people and provides opportunities for so many that may have less than what you had.
Once again, listen on Refocus Radio, and you're going to catch this on refocusradio.com and anywhere you can get a podcast after this broadcast on Sunday. We're talking to our good friend of today, Melva Perez. My next question for you is switching gears a little bit to our veterans. You are a life member of the VFW after serving in Operation Iraqi Freedom. How did your military experience help shape your commitment to continue serving your fellow veterans?
As a combat veteran, I served both as an enlisted and soldier and an officer. Knowing how to follow is just as important as knowing how to lead. The military is a big melting pot. It's soldiers from all walks of life, different economics, different backgrounds, different beliefs, different ethnicities. When you go to war with someone, there is a bond that is built, an unbreakable bond, one that is built on trust. It is just unexplainable. When you return, no one understands what you went through, what you saw, but a combat vet, where the VFW comes in, I continue to serve the veterans through the VFW because they understand, we understand what we each went through and what we survived, what we go through every day, and being involved in the VFW makes sure that I continue to take care of our veterans. Many a times, combat veterans are forgotten. They went out, they fought for our country, they fought for our freedom, they fought for your voice. And when they come back, we don't come back the same. Many come back broken and people forget about them. So when I retired, I swore I'm not going to be one of those. I'm not going to forget our veterans. And I stay very active with the VFW because I'm not going to forget our veterans. I'm going to be there to help them till their last breath.
And we have enough time for maybe one or two more questions. My question is continuing with the veterans topic and focusing on them. Many of them struggle in silence. What does creating a safe space for them to connect and also heal? When you think about that, what does that actually look like?
A safe space is one where they feel comfortable, where they feel safe, where they are with others that have gone through the same things, similar situations as them. They feel that they can be themselves. They feel that if they talk, if they say something, they're going to be surrounded by others that have been there and done that. And that is a safe space, because you don't have to worry about somebody judging you or calling you out saying, oh, you didn't go through that. Oh, come on. That's a safe space where you can be yourself and others will understand you.
My last question for you real quick is not on the thing, but I'm just going to add a little bit, and that is community impact. After all that we talked about this morning, when you look at the opportunity to help somebody seize that moment of making sure they don't miss their chance, because that window of opportunity in life, it doesn't always come every day. It could be your last shot that you have. After all we talked about, what do you hope that listeners will be able to understand what purpose really means when you're living it in your life?
Purpose really means it's making a difference, whether it's making a difference, in your community, in your state, in the country. You have to have purpose. You have to wake up every day and know that you have a purpose that day to make that day a better day, whether it's for you, whether it's for your family, whether it's for the kids, whether it's for the veterans. When I retired from the military 3 years ago, I all of a sudden, realized that I no longer had purpose. I no longer was surrounded by thousands of soldiers that needed me. That was my purpose, to take care of them. So when I retired, I had a hard time adjusting to life. And when I found my purpose, and that was giving back to the community, and that same love and passion that I gave to my soldiers was now going to be given to the community, to the kids, to the veterans, I found my purpose, and that's what brings me here today. I have a purpose, and I lead with my heart, and that is something that a lot of people can't say.
Well, once again, been listening to I Am Refocused Radio, talking to our special guest today, Lieutenant Colonel Melva Perez, retired, all about her career, her duty, her honor, and her selfless service. I want to thank you again for your time.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.